The crystal chandeliers cast golden shadows across the marble walls of the Royal Grand Hotel in Paris. 25-year-old Emma Roberts moved through the private dining room, her simple black uniform a stark contrast to the velvet curtains and silver-laden tables. Her chestnut hair was pulled back in a loose ponytail, and a faint scar above her eyebrow caught the light as she balanced a tray of crystal glasses. She wasn't supposed to be here tonight. A last-minute call had pulled her from her regular shift to cover this exclusive gathering of business magnates and politicians. Her mother back in Vermont was fighting cancer, and every medical bill felt like another wave threatening to pull Emma under. Emma could feel their eyes on her before she even reached the table. A woman in a sequined dress leaned toward her companion, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. "Seriously, this is the best they could find to serve us?" Emma's jaw tightened, but she moved forward, tray steady, face carefully composed. At the head of the table sat Marcus Rasheed, 50 years old, his silk suit gleaming under the lights. His presence dominated the room like a storm cloud. His daughter, Nadia, 22, sat to his left, her dark eyes scanning the room as if memorizing every face, every word. The table was a parade of wealth and ego, a politician with a crooked tie and hollow laugh, a media mogul with slicked-back hair and a Rolex that screamed money, and Catherine, a socialite whose pearls and fake smile concealed a razor-sharp cruelty. Before Marcus's words would slice through the air, Emma had already absorbed a deeper blow. In the kitchen, during a rare moment of calm, her phone had vibrated in her apron pocket. She pulled it out, her heart sinking as she read the message from her cousin. "Mom's insurance denied treatment again. We're out of options." Emma's breath caught. Her fingers gripped the phone so tightly her knuckles turned white. She'd been fighting for her mother for months, working every shift, calling every office, begging for help. This news was a punch she couldn't dodge. She tucked the phone away, wiped her hands on her apron, and returned to the dining room, face composed but hands trembling slightly. That's when Marcus's voice echoed through the room, his Arabic sharp and mocking. "A creature this inferior dares to touch my crystal glass." The table erupted in laughter, confident that the American waitress understood nothing. Emma lowered her head as she set down a wineglass, her hand trembling. But seconds later, she lifted her gaze and responded in flawless Arabic. "The crystal glass does not diminish who holds it. It only reflects the dignity of the one who drinks from it." The entire room froze. The billionaire who had ridiculed her now sat stunned, while the waitress spoke with more fluency than a native speaker. But the mockery didn't stop there. Before Emma's words fully registered, the insults escalated. A man in a tailored suit, his cufflinks gleaming, leaned back and pointed at her apron, his voice loud enough to echo. "She made that apron herself? Looks like it came from a discount store." The table laughed, heads turning to examine Emma's simple uniform, the hem slightly worn from countless washes. She adjusted a glass on her tray, fingers steady, but lips pressed into a thin line. A woman with diamond earrings added in a mocking tone, "Maybe she's saving up for something better. Good luck with a waitress's salary." The laughter grew, a cruel current dragging through the room. Nadia shifted in her seat, her fingers pausing on her glass, eyes returning to Emma with a mixture of guilt and curiosity. "Hey, if this story is hitting you deep, grab your phone for a second. Like this video, leave a comment, maybe share what this moment reminds you of in your own life. And if you want more stories this real, click follow. It's a small thing, but it keeps us connected, living these moments together." Let's get back to what happened next. The laughter from Marcus's comment still echoed when Catherine leaned in, her voice sweet but venomous. "Allowing someone like her to serve us is already a blessing, don't you all think?" The table exploded in laughter, glasses clinking as if she'd told the joke of the century. Emma's hand trembled as she poured water for the politician, the liquid wobbling just enough to betray her nerves. She met Nadia's eyes for an instant. Nadia wasn't laughing. Her fingers twisted a napkin, lips pressed tight, as if holding back a storm. Emma kept her head down, placing a glass with precision, movement steady despite the tremor in her hands. Marcus leaned back, his smile wide, his Arabic cutting like a blade. Look at her, clumsy as if she were lost in a street market. No idea where she is. The politician laughed, his face flushed from wine, tie loosened. She probably only came for the tips, he said, nudging the media mogul. The magnate, his hair gleaming under the chandeliers, snorted. Tips in that outfit. She's lucky to be here. The laughter grew, each guest adding something, the voices forming a cruel chorus that echoed off the marble walls, becoming louder, sharper. A young man in a velvet jacket, hair perfectly styled, leaned across the table, voice dripping with sarcasm. I bet she's never been in a place like this before today. Look how she holds that tray. Looks like her first day. The guests nearby laughed, eyes turning to Emma as she adjusted a plate, fingers brushing against the silverware. A woman in a fur shawl threw her head back, laughing. She probably thinks this is the height of glamour. Poor thing. Emma's shoulders stiffened, but she didn't stop, moving to refill a water pitcher, face neutral, but eyes gleaming for an instant, sharp and unwavering. Nadia's napkin was now crumpled in her lap, knuckles white from gripping it. The room's laughter was like a tide, dragging everyone along except Emma, who stood firm against it. Emma stopped. Her hands went still for the first time. She straightened, her eyes locking onto Marcus's. The room didn't notice immediately, but Nadia did. Her napkin fell into her lap. Emma spoke, her voice calm but cutting, her Arabic perfect. Wealth cannot buy respect, but words reveal its absence. The room went silent. Heads turned. Whispers started like wildfire. Marcus's face drained of color. His mouth opened, but no sound came. The politician's wineglass hung mid-air, forgotten. Catherine's pearl necklace suddenly looked too tight around her throat. A man in a grey suit at the far end of the table stood up, his voice uncertain. Do you know who she is? Emma reached into her apron and pulled out a worn envelope. She placed it on the table in front of Marcus. His hands shook as he opened it. Inside was a photograph, a younger Marcus, standing beside a distinguished professor in Cairo. And beside the professor, a young girl with bright eyes and a ponytail. Emma. Professor Al-Hassan was my adoptive father, Emma said quietly, her Arabic crisp. He taught me 13 languages before he passed. You were his student, Marcus. I remember you visiting our home. You forgot many things, but we never forgot you. Nadia's eyes filled with tears. She stood, her chair scraping softly against the floor. She crossed the room in quick steps and threw her arms around Emma, her voice breaking. I'm so sorry, she whispered, shoulders trembling. Emma hugged her back, her face soft but firm, presence solid as a rock. Applause began slowly, a few people at the back of the room, then grew into a roar. Guests stood, faces mixing shock, admiration, and discomfort. Marcus sat frozen, his world crumbling, hands still gripping the table as if it were the only thing holding him up. The politician shook his head, murmuring, "Unbelievable." Catherine stared at her wineglass, face red, pearls suddenly too tight. The media mogul looked away, smile gone, confidence shattered. Emma stepped back, resuming her work as if nothing had happened, but every eye in the room followed her. By morning, the story had spread like wildfire. A shaky video from a guest capturing Emma's response went viral, racking up millions of views in hours. Comments flooded in from around the world. She shut him down with pure class. Who is this woman? Marcus got what he deserved. The media mogul lost a major sponsorship deal by noon. Catherine's social circle turned their backs on her, invitations drying up. The politician's smug face became an internet meme. A week later, a local reporter stopped by the restaurant during Emma's break. "Miss Roberts, your story has inspired so many people," she said, voice sincere. "Can you tell us how it felt to face them?" Emma leaned against the counter, apron folded over her arm, eyes distant for a moment. She smiled slightly, fingers brushing the edge of a coffee cup. "It was like telling the truth," she answered simply, then returned to work, leaving the reporter speechless. Emma's life didn't change much on the surface. She still worked double shifts. She still sent money for her mother's medical bills. But something was different. The way she carried herself, the way her eyes met the world, was stronger, more certain. She had always known who she was, even when the world refused to see. Now they couldn't look away.